Now to continuing coverage of that final debate between President Obama and Mitt Romney. They clashed over foreign policy, but they seemed to find several areas of agreement. They both vowed to stand with Israel if Iran was attacked. Both say they oppose U.S. military involvement in Syria. Hundreds of people listened to the candidates right here at this watch party in Cleveland Heights last night. And new for Good Morning Cleveland, people we talked with seem to agree that both candidates made good points, but they seem to disagree about who won.
Romney really pointed out some of the weaknesses in the administration's policy towards foreign affairs.
Romney really didn't have anything to say about foreign policy because he's not very knowledgeable about it.
According to the latest polls, 2 to 5% of voters are still undecided in this, and debate watchers don't think that foreign policy is going to sway them. And Election Day is just 2 weeks exactly away from today. And joining us live in studio, you see him right here, breaking down the final war of words, political science chair of the Baldwin-Wallace University, Dr. Tom Sutton. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good to be with you, Mike.
All right, so a CNN poll and a CBS poll both have President Obama winning the debate. What did you think?
Well, I think he did, but not by a strong margin. Certainly, he's been doing this job for the last 4 years compared to Governor Romney, so he had the edge. I think he won, but I'm not sure it's going to make that much of a difference when it comes to the election.
I was going to say, do you think that this debate mattered? Some people say it was kind of bore snore because it's foreign policy and not domestic policy, even though they seem to shift it back to economics.
Yes, I think there was more of a focus that this is the last debate and economics is what is on everybody's minds in this election. So we saw that happen repeatedly. We didn't see Bob Schieffer really try to switch it back over to foreign policy. Foreign policy is complex, it's abstruse, and we don't have a lot of people who are really concerned about this in terms of crisis other than the situations in Libya and Iran and certainly the Syria situation.
Let me read a couple of headlines, Dr. Tom. Romney shifts to center. Obama tries to tie him to Bush's policies or policies under Bush. This is from the New York Times. LA Times, Romney endorses Obama. From NPR, little daylight between Obama and Romney.
Right, and basically what this is all saying is that there's not a lot of significant difference between these two candidates when it comes to presidential foreign policy. They're going to follow the same kinds of policies. This is a complex world. It's an exceedingly difficult world to negotiate in. And I think really in many ways, we saw, in some ways, Governor Romney affirming a lot of what President Obama has been doing over the last 4 years, particularly related to terrorism.
All right, so just 2 weeks left, and 2 weeks from today, that's when Election Day is. Are the candidates doing these whirlwind tours just to get out the vote, or do you think they're trying to change any minds here?
Well, there are those few left who supposedly don't know who they're going to vote for, but I think really this is about partisan mobilization. Those last voters who they know where they're going to vote for, but they haven't voted yet, who perhaps are still holding onto those absentee ballots, are going to show up on Election Day. That could likely be 40% plus of our voters that show up in Ohio, and because the polls are so close, we know it's really going to come down to that day.
And Dr. Tom, with the polls so close, is it possible that we could have a candidate win the Electoral College and then the other candidate win the popular vote?
That is possible. I think the scenario would most likely be a repeat of 2000, in which Al Gore won the popular vote and President Bush eventually did get the decision in the presidential race. Given the states matchup, we might see something like that. It's going to be very close, and as we've said for a long time, Ohio is going to be the decider.
That's right. All eyes on Ohio. People are definitely watching us, and again, the Electoral College is what really matters.
Yes.
At least to get the job.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Dr. Tom Sutton from Baldwin-Wallace University. We'll see you Election Day.
Indeed.
Or Election Day. After Election Day.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but we are back in just a moment.